Okay, well, Scott was here for a little bit today, and we got these tacked on. You see the tack on each side of those, and we got the clamp sleeves for the clamp underneath the bed. We got the clamp sleeves welded on the bottom of the two vertical pipes here. Not welded on, tacked on. So the next step here is to raise the bed, remove the bed, raise the bed so we can drop the pipes out from the top down over here where they go through the bed, weld the lower sleeves on the verticals here, and then put it back together before we glue the top. It needs to be clamped together at the bottom before we fasten the top to the bed. So it's all sequenced. This thing is all sequenced because there's that spaces. The workspaces are really tight. So if you do the wrong sequence, you're screwed. You're done. Well, hello everyone. Happy New Year. Today is the 5th of January, 2023. You can see what's happening right here, right now. We are in the process of draining right there. See, whoop, that just turned off. There's a sump pump inside there because that area is roughly 2 feet lower than where we're standing right now. So it's the lowest place around here. We've been having rain here. We're in Northern California, and what we've been experiencing is an atmospheric storm. We've been having rain here most every day, sometimes heavier than others, for the last week. New Year's Eve being the worst of that, which was probably, I'm going to guess, I thought I heard something about 1.5 inches of rain in a one-day period. So for us here, we're on there's a lot of elevation where I'm at right now. We're up in the hills, not a high hills, but in the hilly section of San Mateo, California. So there's a lot of grade here. It both goes up to the back of this property and to the front of this property. That's the street out there. So it slopes in both directions, and then it also slopes sideways. So all the houses behind me, as we're looking at this picture, go uphill. All the houses in front of me go downhill. And about 2 blocks down in this direction is you would say a creek, I guess. It's called Crystal Springs, and it runs to the right from the picture you're looking at right here. It runs to the right until it gets down to San Francisco Bay. So we're, like I say, we're up above that. I don't know how much higher we are than the bay. We're probably 50 to 100 feet higher than the bay. The areas down at the bay, the residential areas down at or on or both sides of the, no, actually not both sides, the areas to what would be the west of the bay, some of those areas had minor flooding over the weekend, to the point where it came up over the curbs and up into some people's garages, and actually started flooding the sewer system because the sewer system became underwater. So the storm drain water was actually getting into the sewer system and overflowing the sewer system. Not a fun thing. That was Saturday. Today is Thursday, and I'm here to work on this today. See if I can recite this in the proper sequence. I need to take the bed off at this point so that we can finish the welding that's necessary on those standpipes, those filler standpipes. Before I take that off, I need to do one last thing on the one on the passenger side, and that is to put a hunk of this pickled washer. We pickled the finish off of this washer, so I can use it over here. See if I can show you. There's a bead right there. See that bead, that vertical, the one that this extension of this horizontal bead turns and goes down, and that fastener panel piece of the standpipe bracket goes right over that bead. So I'm gonna cut a hunk of this washer so that when you look at this piece here, it's the bead is filled. The washer will fill the bead, the pressed bead and the vertical bed panel. So that's the last thing. You see, this one's already done. I don't know if I can show you that because it's hard to. Here, let me see. See that little piece? Fill in the bead there. That's what I got to do on this side. That's the first step I have to do here. And then the pieces that go on those clamps are currently welded on both sides of this pipe. The piece coming up through the floor and the piece going from there down to the tank. The halves of those clamps are tacked onto the pipes. This one's easy. I can remove this, take the hose off, remove this one. This one here is a little harder. Now if there's a hole in the floor, that piece isn't going to come up through the hole in the floor, which means this pipe has to go from the top down to get out of the bed. Well, with the bed in place, the frame is in the way. The pipe can't go down. So I have to lift the bed in order to get these pipes out. Weld the piece on the bottom, the half of the clamp on the bottom, put the piece, the standpipe back up from the bottom up into the bed, put the bed back on, you know, maybe weld the pipe in place. I'm not sure if we're going to do that from the bottom or do that from the top. So we have to figure out, once we get this all set up, how we're going to weld those standpipes to the bed, if we're going to do it from the bottom or from the top. Probably from the bottom, which is going to complicate things a bit too, because you got to get everything all together and in the right position and everything else before you weld it. Otherwise the pipes aren't going to go together and it'll leak where that joint is. It's quite a delicate process this is, and it's got to be done in the right sequence. So anyway, we have to do all that, take the bed off to get the pipes out, to weld the bottoms on, the bottoms of the clamp pieces, the connection pieces on, and then figure out how we're going to weld the standpipes to the bottom of the bed. The upper part where it attaches to the side of the bed, we're going to glue. I have ordered seam adhesive, metal, not seam adhesive, panel adhesive. I have ordered that. It's out of stock until the 3rd of February, which is, you know, be here before you know it. So I went with that. I got to put the whatever you call the piece that goes on here, the lifting piece there it is, standing up there in the back. I have to put that back on there so I can lift the bed with the cherry picker. We have to loosen these pipes coming out of the tank, loosen the vent pipe coming out of the tank, lift the bed up high enough. I have to take it off the frame. I don't have to remove it and put it on anything else, but I probably will. Lift the bed up so we can drop the standpipes out from the top down. And then once the bed is off, I've got a couple other things I can do, which there's a damaged brake line that I think happened when this thing was at the body shop in Watsonville a few years back. I didn't notice it until I was laying under there modifying the e-brake cable. The brake, the hydraulic brake line looks like it got smashed somehow or other. I don't know, maybe from a clamp, maybe it accidentally got clamped and it's kind of smashed. So I got to cut it, put a coupling in it, fix it, extend it to where it needs to go, and then remake the brake line going around the new rear cross member, because obviously that changed shape. So the old pipe used to go from side to side. around the old cross member no longer fits. I got to make a new one. I can do that when the bed is off. So I'm going to start that whole process today. I'm going to put you on time lapse. I'm going to try that. I have never done that before. We're going to see how that works. So anyway, that's a lot of discussion to show you, tell you what's going to happen. Hope it isn't too long. See you later. Bye. See, I already forgot. I was going to set you up for time lapse, and I made that piece. Where did the cart end up? I made that little crescent shaped piece to fill the bead in the side of the bed. I've got it right there. See it? I've got it taped on there with foil tape just so he can tack it in place. Then we'll remove the tape and finish welding it. But anyway, I almost forgot to set up the camera for the time lapse. You see, I got the trellis thing out already, whatever you call that fixture. And I got it on the cherry picker. So I'll set the camera up and we'll start with the time lapse. Okay, well, let's see. Got the fixture up there. Vent pipes are separated so the bed can lift. The standpipes are separated from the piece going in the tank. So the next thing to do is loosen all the fasteners on the bed, put some tension on that, loosen all the fasteners on the bed, and then pick the bed up so those standpipes can come straight down and out of the bed. Here it goes. Okay, I got tension on it. Let's put you on time lapse. Is put this on the bed on the dolly so that I can work on the brake line right with the chassis exposed. Seems like that's what I ought to do rather than try and do it laying underneath. Sure would make things easier. So let me see if I can wiggle that thing out of there and get it standing up on the cart. Gotta empty it first. So I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, well I got the, as you can see, I've got this thing loose. See if I can drag it around and I'll set it down onto the legs of the cherry picker and then reconnect it, see if I can stand it up, because I'm going to put the bed on the cart that I had made for it, so that I can leave it off the chassis while I'm redoing the brake lines, reconnecting, fixing and reconnecting the brake lines. So anyway, I'll put you back on time lapse. Okay, well, I would say that that'll work. For the time being, I'll just take this off and this off. This is pretty stable, actually. Yeah, that's quite stable. Quite stable. Oh. That'll work. Yeah. I'm inside. Oh, you? Okay, so where's the best way to run? Best way to run this. I think I gotta go around the post. And around the tire. That don't give me enough room to get the cherry, what do you call it? Okay, well, that literally was all afternoon, just making things accessible, I guess. So you see, there's the bed sitting over there on the cart. And this piece ready for the little, what would you call that, bead plug? We're getting ready to weld in. Like I said, all this now I can repair and replace brake line as needed. So there you go. Later. Okay, well, here's a bit of an unexpected issue. I showed you before where I have to replace or repair that damage up there on the brake line where it's been smashed. Okay, so the plan is to cut that off short of the smashed area. reflare it, offset it away from the frame, put a coupling in it, and then make a new piece to go from the coupling to the T right there, where it goes down under into the rear wheel and across over to the other rear wheel. Okay, it sounds easy enough. Problem is, when you come back here and you look at the routing of that brake line, it's up above all this other stuff. It comes around, goes down, and into the master cylinder, okay? One piece. All right. I got it all loose, took all the clamps loose, took the fitting loose, and guess what? Without removing the body, I can't get that piece of brake line out of here. So what I'm going to have to do, obviously, is cut it probably up here somewhere. I'm going to start by cutting it back here, probably right around where that wooden block is, that mounting block is, and see if there's any way I can wiggle it out with it shortened that much. And if the answer to that question is no, then I'm going to probably have to shorten it back here somewhere, which will give me a lot more flexibility towards getting it out, and put the coupling up in here someplace. And then just make a longer line piece to go from the coupling back to the T. So let's see how that ends up. Ha ha ha, fun, fun, fun. Okay, well, I would say the hardest part of that repair is probably done. I got the piece out. Made an offset in it for the coupling. In other words, to get the pipe off the frame to go straight into the coupling, instead of having, you know, how a lot of people just run it straight in there, you know, force it instead of making it go straight in. Anyway, put an offset in it. So now I got to make an offset on the other piece, coming out of the coupling, going towards the T back there. Okay, get a measurement, cut it off, double flare it, hopefully put it together, and we're done with that hurdle. Okay, well, it's about 2 hours later. Hopefully you got enough light here to see what I'm trying to show you. It's about 2 hours later, and that line is back together. There's the new coupling. Goes back along the frame. There's the existing strap reinstalled. There's the other existing strap reinstalled. There's the T, and you see the brake line goes into the T. I might want to add one more strap. There's another view. Anyway, later. Hello there. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. Been working a little more on the old Hank here. Amongst other things, had a little rental stuff happening the last few days between all the storms here, rainstorms here in California. And so, and then some other stuff not related to that. But at any rate, got another chore checked off here. Brake line around the back of the new cross member. I can scratch that one off the list. You see here. Here, let me start at the beginning of it. I fixed the smash part over here, where I don't know how or where. That wasn't done by me. I think when it was down the body shop, someone smashed it. Just, you see where the clamp is, the little black clamp there. An inch or two to the right of that. It looked like maybe somebody put a clamp on the frame. Didn't realize it was on the brake line, and it had a nice little smash in it right there. Replace that piece. You saw that. I showed you some video of the front end of this where I had to take it out. I had to cut it up in front to get it out. So anyway, and then like I said, we modified this cross member. So the old brake line that went around there no longer was any good, so I had to make that. You see where it leaves the T here and heads towards the back? That's all new. Heads up over the kick, around the kick on the frame, comes around the back side here of the cross member. I had a 5 foot length of pipe that was too short to go all the way, so I put a coupling in the middle and finished it around. On this side, you see it does the same thing it does on the other side, down the kick. In this case, there's no T here because that's the end of the line. It just goes to the frame, down under the frame to the bulkhead part there where it goes from hard line to flex hose to the other wheel, the other rear wheel. So that's done. You can see now, you can see what the vents look like coming out. The fuel tank vents look like coming out of the tank. Running along the frame. I got to drill a couple more strap holes in the front there. I got a strap in the back. I couldn't do the front because the fuel filler pipe was in the way. Now that that's gone, I can do that on both sides too. So anyway, we're getting there. Pretty soon we'll be able to put the bed back on. Got to do a little more welding before we do that, and that's on these. Got to weld the clamps on these, and then we can put them back through the bed from the top, no, from the, in this case, from the bottom up. And before we fasten the top end into the bed, and that's the last time those will go in and out of the bottom of the bed. Anyway, later.